She's not sexting me, he said. She's just writing me things. She's telling me about her day, about the things she carried in her head. He looked up straight at Loretta. Do you believe me, he asked. Is that what matters? Loretta asked. I think that's worse. Sex I could deal with. Things in her head, said Loretta. What does that mean? I don't even want to be having this conversation, added Loretta. We have other things to do. Are you loaded? Of course, said Dan. Of course. I always keep it loaded. You know it's a dumb thing to do. That phone will be gone in 2 days, said Loretta. Tomorrow, if we do it right. That phone will be gone tomorrow, and then what? What the fuck are you doing, giving your number out like that? No, she's fine, Loretta. She won't freak. You say that, but you should know better. Hold on, said Loretta, yanking the steering wheel hard to the right. She's his wife. But that's what's genius, said Dan, with that look on his face. Oh, Loretta should have seen this one a mile away. That look, that eager boy look, like he had the world in the palm of his hand. You said that before the job in Utah, in Hurricane, remember? Loretta was tossing around against the door now. She didn't care. She hit the speed bump like a NASCAR driver. No, but... Dan's words jumped into his throat as she drifted through the corner. Hey, look, there's something about her. Yeah, said Loretta. Cock it, she said. We're almost there. Something about the way she moves. That little ass of hers twitching right to left. Fuck, I can't believe I'm saying this. I hate it when you set me off, kid. You know I hate it. I hate sounding like a fucking TV movie. Now you're supposed to say, you're jealous. And if you are, said Dan, moving his fingers, getting them limber for the job. If I'm jealous, oh God, I guess it means I'm human. And if maybe I'm thinking it's time for a change. I mean for us, time to change together. He said the last part fast before Loretta could steer them into a wall. Talk to me about change later. This isn't it. This isn't the time. And what if she's there, Dan? What then? She's not. She's not there. Fuck. Loretta stopped the car. We're here, Dan. You need to tell me now. What did you say to her? What did you text in that nifty little phone of yours? I didn't tell her anything. She's in Concord with her family today. Her father's in the hospital. Loretta's arms dropped from the steering wheel. Her father, she said. Dan, you know I don't need this now. Not now. That's what was written on stage. I'm not talking to you, said Loretta to Dan. She put her hands on the rich guy's round face. Fuck, honey boy, like you could shoot bullets out of your eyes. Bang, bang, I'm dead. His cheeks bulged out around the gag, his blue eyes on her. You're not supposed to be here. What happened to Concord, your ailing father-in-law, That surprised him. His eyes rolled over to Dan, scratching his ass with the muzzle of the gun. Moron, thought Loretta. I'm married to a moron. She said they were both going, Dan started. Am I talking to him? She asked the guy with his hands zip-tied behind his back. I'm talking to you, sweetie. Your wife either lied or something came up. His eyes ran away from hers, over to the coffee table. A bottle of NyQuil was next to his laptop. Oh, poor boy, a cold. No, of course she didn't lie. She and my boy here had a special connection. Babe, said Dan. Don't feel bad, Pumpkin, she said, pinching a fat cheek. Lots of women have a special connection with my baby here. That's only because they don't get a chance to see up close what a fuckhead he is. Loretta let go and stood up straight. Dan started to say something, but she held a hand up. If he said a word, she could swear she'd break. Something about her. Fucker. A blonde, of course. There was a picture of her on the mantel in a white bikini, rich person teeth and weekly pedicures, looking all at home and wholesome on the deck of a boat, probably named after her. She didn't lie, said Loretta. You don't lock your doors. No security at all, she thought. So smug and protected here, where everyone else is as rich as them. They don't even have to see anyone less rich. The last time she and Dan saw Dan's brother, what was it, 10 years ago? He and his wife had ordered a pizza. They ordered a pizza and ate it in front of them. Loretta watched Dan, his eyes following a slice of olive as it rolled from his brother's slice onto the table. It rolled over to Dan's side of the table, toppling onto its side precisely between Dan's elbows. He couldn't look away, and his brother reached over blindly to pick it up. He reached between Dan's elbows and snatched the olive, aimed it at the garbage. It bounced off the edge of the can and landed on the floor. It had been 6 months since the call center closed down. Their unemployment was gone. They both stared at the slice of olive on the floor. They were ready to pick it up. Dan's brother would have liked to see that. The whole thing was his way of saying, "You're a fuck-up, this is what you deserve." 9 years ago, Loretta corrected herself. It was 2001. She looked over at Dan, his nose smashed under the nylon stocking. Rich bitch is probably a pro at dieting. Has to look good for her pudgy husband. But dieting is not being hungry. She doesn't know how to be hungry. "Okay, let's start loading out," said Loretta. It was a mess, but they could still get what they came for. Dan was pointing the gun at the floor, sighting along his arm. Slowly, he shook his head. "We're not very good at this," he said. "Don't. It's going to be okay. We just need to be quick. I loved listening to you at work. I used to pretend to take a call just so I could listen to you, like a mother. I'm going to need help with the big screen. I mean, people would be in fear and they'd call in. It's like their computer didn't work, and so the whole universe stopped making sense. Like that hysterical guy who was going to climb to the roof and start shooting people until he heard your voice. Babe, this is not helping. I need you to focus right now, okay? She's got the same thing, you know. He knows." Dan pointed at the guy on the kitchen chair they dragged into the living room. "Shut up about her." Loretta was shaking, unplugging the laptop and winding up the cord. "Not as good as you, babe, I swear, but it reminded me. We were good. We both were." Loretta held the laptop between her hands. She could throw it at his head. Smash it on the floor. Just a fucking laptop. So what, so what, so what, said Loretta. Their jobs didn't exist anymore. Someone in Bangalore was wearing her old headset. Dan just stood there and watched her. "I love you too much, baby." "Oh, Jesus." Loretta felt a tear wetting her own nylon mask. It stuck to the nylon. Jesus, in front of the guy. She should crack Dan's head open. "I love you too much, and I thought you knew what was best for you. I thought you could figure it out, but you didn't. You didn't figure it out, and we're still doing this shit." Loretta put down the laptop carefully. "Let's have this little crisis later, okay? I'm about to lose it here. Fair warning." "No," said Dan softly. He reached up and pulled the stocking off his head, his face hanging bare, hair sticking to his forehead. Loretta couldn't move. His face was bare like a weapon. The rich guy's eyes were wide awake, rolling from Dan to Loretta and back. "What? His wife knows what I look like." He showed his face to the guy, holding his arms out. "She can describe me to the police. My distinguishing characteristics, right? Like Monica Lewinsky." Loretta picked up the laptop again, and this time she threw it. Right past Dan. It bounced off the arm of the couch and slapped onto the floor. No smash. She was ready to scream. Dan looked over at her, his eyes sleepy. "What, babe? This is what we do. This is what you think you want. Me and the smooth rich chicks." Pictures fired inside Loretta's head, tiny explosions. Soft hair, flat little belly, perfect skin and plumped up breasts moving against Dan, those white teeth showing when she came. He moved over to her, put his arms around her. She twanged like a plucked wire. His gun was resting between her shoulder blades. "You want me to stop talking about it, but you don't want me to stop doing it." He was talking soft into her ear. "That's fucked up, Loretta." He used her name, and then he pulled off her stocking mask. She reached for it. She was reaching after it when Dan slammed into her. They were on the floor, the gun skidding across the polished wood, and feet, the rich guy's bare feet running after it. He got to it first. The gun was pointed at them, and they sat up. The guy was yanking the gag out of his mouth that hung around his neck. Tufts on either side of his bald head stood up. "Dummies," he said. "You dummies." He cocked the gun. Loretta had fantasized about this for 9 years. She'd seen this moment like the ghost of Christmas future, somebody getting the drop on them. Dan was right. They shouldn't have lasted this long. In her fantasies, the gun was pointed at Dan. She wouldn't hesitate for a second, take a bonsai run straight at it, straight into the bullet. She'd go in a white flash and save Dan's life. This was her chance. This was her chance to be a hero. The gun was pointed at them. She felt him breathing hard just behind her. She could save him. She looked right down the hole where the bullet would fly, and she raised a hand. She raised a hand to block the bullet. It was dumb, but this is what her body did. She watched the finger tighten on the trigger and heard Dan move fast behind her. She closed her eyes. A thin click. Then the guy's body hit the floor, Dan on top of him. They rolled around the floor, wrestling, the gun on the floor. It took Loretta a second, a long second, but then she clicked in. She reached for the laptop on the floor and took it in both hands, watching for her opening. Pink skull showed on top, and she whacked at it with the laptop. "Harder," said Dan, pinned under the big guy, all his pounds. Loretta wound up and smashed it over the guy's head. He went limp as a possum, just like that. Dan rolled him onto the floor. They were both breathing hard. "Not loaded," said Dan. Never do. Never load that thing." "Fuck, Dan. 9 years." I know. I'm sorry." Dan pulled his feet in, got up. He reached for Loretta's hand, laced his fingers through hers. She looked down at their hands. "What now?" she said. Dan shrugged. "Get the big screen?"